We were a team of urban explorers chasing legends in the dark. Fear was a foreign language. We thrived on adrenaline. Tonight we hunted a ghost town called Silent Hollow. No maps, no records, just rumors and a dare. The air crackled as we stepped from the van, boots crunching on gravel. Headlights revealed a battered sign, Silent Hollow. My gut twisted. Something was off. This place had teeth. I could feel it, but fear was a luxury we couldn't afford. This town held a story, and we were here to uncover it, no matter the cost. We were a pack of wolves, stepping into the lion's den. Let the hunt begin. Silence smothered the town. Buildings loomed like tombstones, their windows watching us. The only sound was the wind through dead branches. The air was thick with decay and something metallic. It clung to my throat, a warning. We moved carefully, eyes scanning every shadow. The silence was unnerving, as if the town held its breath. We wouldn't let our guard down, but the rules felt different here. The stakes were higher. Tonight, we were the prey. The sun sank, shadows stretching across deserted streets. The temperature dropped, a chill crawling up my spine. Shadows writhed, reaching for us. We pressed on, footsteps echoing in the silence. We were invaders in a forgotten realm. The town was being consumed by decay, and we were about to pay the price. We split up to cover more ground, a mistake in hindsight. I entered a house, dust thick on every surface. It was like stepping into a tomb. The air was heavy, sweet and cloying. A single chair sat in the center, its fabric crumbling at my touch. A yellowed newspaper caught my eye. The date 1953. This town wasn't just abandoned, it was frozen in time, a time capsule of forgotten lives, and we were trapped inside. I found a child's bedroom, rocking horse, cracked doll, all left behind. On the wall, scrawled in a child's hand, "Don't let the shadows take you." A shiver ran down my spine. It was a warning from the past. The air crackled with dread. I closed the door softly, not wanting to disturb the ghosts. They'd seen enough horror, but as I turned to leave, something made my blood run cold. On the living room wall, in what looked like dried blood, one word, "Run." My heart pounded. This was no game. I had to warn the others. I raced outside, shadows reaching for me. I rounded a corner and collided with something, not my team, something else. A figure shrouded in shadows, eyes burning into me. It spoke, voice a raspy whisper, "You shouldn't be here." Its voice slithered around me, chilling me to the bone. I blinked. The figure vanished. Was it a trick of the light? My voice echoed, rough and uncertain. My team was gone. Panic stabbed through me. I called their names, but only silence answered. The shadows pressed in, mocking my fear. I couldn't leave them. Not while there was a chance they were still alive. I grabbed my walkie-talkie, only static. "Do you copy?" I growled, fear creeping in. Silence, then a faint, garbled cry, gone in an instant. The sun vanished, plunging the town into darkness. Shadows twisted, feeding on my fear. I needed higher ground, a vantage point. The old church spire beckoned. As I moved, a shadow flickered in a nearby window. "Show yourself," my voice echoed, but only silence replied. I knew it was out there, watching, waiting. The wind carried the scent of decay and something hungry. This town was playing with me. I broke into a run, heading for the church. Eyes tracked my every move. I didn't dare look back. Its presence pressed behind me, thick with malice. It wanted me to break, but I wouldn't give it the satisfaction. I reached the church doors, shoving them open. Inside, the air was thick with incense and something sweet, like blood. The figure stood in the doorway, eyes glowing with hunger. In its hand, a bloodied walkie-talkie. It smiled, grotesque and chilling. "Welcome to Silent Hollow," it hissed. "Your friends are already here." The creature stepped aside, inviting me in. The walkie-talkie dripped blood, my friend's blood. They were already gone. My hand tightened on my knife. The creature chuckled, voice scraping my sanity. "They put up a good fight," it hissed. "But no one is a match for me." My only chance was to fight. I stepped inside, the door booming shut behind me. The air reeked of decay and incense. The creature glided across the floor, its form shifting in the shadows. I felt the weight of the town's tragedies pressing down. I was trapped with something that craved only death and despair. I followed a trail of blood toward the altar. The creature was toying with me, leading me to its masterpiece. My team lay sprawled across the altar steps, faces frozen in terror. Their blood stained the white cloth, a gruesome shroud. Rage surged through me, eclipsing fear. This thing had ripped them from me as it had so many before. "You like what you see?" The creature's voice oozed amusement. I turned, knife ready. Candlelight revealed its true form. Skin gray, eyes bottomless, mouth a nightmare of teeth. It moved closer, shifting and distorting. This wasn't just a creature, it was a curse, born of the town's pain and blood, and it was hungry. The creature, this embodiment of Silent Hollow's rage, stood before me. Its eyes, those black pits reflecting the town's agony, held me captive. It was more than just a monster, it was a force of nature, fueled by the echoes of violence that stained this cursed ground. Fear, icy and sharp, threatened to cripple me, but beneath the terror a cold fury ignited. This thing, this abomination, had taken too much. My friends, their lives snuffed out to feed its insatiable hunger. I wouldn't let their deaths be in vain. "You're right," I growled, my voice hoarse with rage. My fingers tightened on the knife, the cold steel a familiar comfort against the encroaching darkness. "I don't like what I see." The creature tilted its head, a grotesque parody of curiosity, the movement sending a shiver down my spine. "But I can't leave," I continued, my voice gaining strength, fueled by the memory of my fallen comrades. "Not until this town, this curse, is broken." My words hung in the air between us, a challenge spoken into the heart of darkness. The creature's smile widened, revealing those blood-stained teeth, and a low growl rumbled deep within its chest. It was a sound that promised pain, that reveled in suffering, but beneath its hunger I sensed something else. A flicker of respect? "Then let us play," it hissed, its voice a chorus of whispers that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the church. The church, once a sanctuary, became a battleground. The creature moved with unnatural speed, its form blurring in the flickering candlelight, a whirlwind of claws and teeth. I reacted instinctively, my years of exploring dangerous places, of facing down the darkness, kicking in. I ducked beneath its first attack, feeling the wind of its claws as they whistled past my face. Rolling to my feet, I lashed out with the knife, the blade finding its mark, carving a line of fire across the creature's arm. A hiss, sharp and filled with pain, erupted from the creature. It stumbled back, clutching at the wound, its blood, black as ink, staining the floor of the church. The scent of it, acrid and metallic, filled my nostrils, but it wasn't the smell of victory. It was the smell of something ancient, something evil, something that refused to die. The creature's eyes, those black pits of despair, locked onto mine, and I saw a flicker of something akin to amusement? "You fight like a cornered animal," it hissed, its voice a raspy whisper that seemed to claw at the edges of my sanity. "But you are nothing but prey." It lunged again, its claws aimed for my throat. I met its attack head-on, my knife a silver flash in the darkness. The fight was a blur of movement and sound, a desperate dance of life and death. The creature was relentless, its attacks coming in waves, each one designed to end me. But you know, I was no stranger to violence. I'd faced down my own demons, stared into the abyss and emerged unbroken. I used the creature's own momentum against it, dodging and weaving, my knife finding purchase again and again. Each wound I inflicted slowed it down, but it wasn't enough. This thing was fueled by the town's darkness, by the echoes of countless deaths. It wouldn't be so easily defeated. We crashed against the altar, sending splinters of wood flying. The creature lunged again, its claws raking across my chest, tearing through my shirt and drawing blood. I cried out, the pain a searing white-hot knife through my flesh. But even as I stumbled back, I saw my opportunity. The creature, momentarily distracted by my pain, had left itself open. I lunged forward, summoning the last of my strength, and drove the knife upwards, burying it deep into the creature's chest where its heart should have been. The creature roared, a sound of pure agony that shook the very foundations of the church. It convulsed violently, its body racked with spasms, its eyes wide with disbelief. And then with a final, shuddering gasp, it went still. The silence that followed was deafening. I stood there, chest heaving, blood dripping from my wounds. The creature's lifeless body slumped against me. The knife, still embedded in its chest, pulsed with a faint, ethereal light. As I watched, the creature's form began to dissolve, its flesh melting away like wax, revealing the skeletal structure beneath. The air grew heavy with the stench of decay, the smell of death clinging to the back of my throat like a bad memory. The church, no longer a battleground, felt different, lighter somehow. The oppressive weight that had pressed down on me since I first set foot in this cursed town had lifted. I staggered back, pulling the knife free from the creature's dissolving flesh. The blade pulsed again, the ethereal light intensifying, spreading outwards until it enveloped the entire church in a warm, golden glow. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it was over. The light faded, leaving me standing alone in the darkness, the creature's remains scattered around me like ashes. I looked down at the knife in my hand, its blade now clean, the inscription on its side glowing faintly in the darkness. Hope, it read. A glimmer of hope in a town built on despair. Could it be? Silence descended upon the church, heavier than before. The dust motes, disturbed by our struggle, settled back onto the broken pews and cracked floorboards. The creature, the embodiment of Silent Hollow's rage, was gone. Its stench lingered, a phantom limb of fear, but it was fading. I stood there amidst the wreckage of the fight, my breath ragged, my body a tapestry of pain. The blood, mine and the creature's, stained the floor black in the moonlight, filtering through the shattered window. My hand, still clutching the knife, trembled. Had I won? Was it truly over? The silence felt different now, no longer predatory but empty. The town outside, shrouded in shadows, seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see if its curse had truly been lifted. I walked out of the church into the night. The air was still, the only sound the distant howl of a dog, mournful and lonely. The houses, those dark sentinels, no longer seemed to watch my every move. They stood there, empty and still, like tombstones in a graveyard, forgotten by time. I made my way back to the road, to the rusted sign that had welcomed us to this nightmare. Silent Hollow, it read, the letters barely visible in the moonlight. But something had changed. The air, once thick with malice, felt lighter. As I touched the sign, a jolt of energy, not unpleasant but unsettling, passed through me. Images flashed through my mind, glimpses of the town's past, of its pain, its rage, its sorrow. And then, silence. I looked back at Silent Hollow, at its empty streets and darkened windows. Was it truly at peace, or was this just a reprieve? A chance for the town to catch its breath, to lick its wounds before the cycle began anew. I didn't have the answers. All I knew was that I had survived. I had faced the darkness, stared into the abyss and emerged, broken but not beaten. The shadows still clung to me, whispers of fear and doubt. But I would carry on. For my friends, for myself, for the memory of those lost in the shadows of Silent Hollow. I would keep moving, searching for the light in the darkness, the hope in the face of despair. And next time, I would be ready.